Hey there, gamers! You're back on the Game Pulse channel as always, and today we're going to talk about some new simulators that have already launched and can not only entertain you but actually teach you something too. None of us like long intros, so without further ado, I'll remind you about the timestamps for each game in the description below, and I wish you a pleasant watch. Chocolate Factory Simulator. I'm sure every one of us watched that amazing movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as kids. And if you didn't, well, I'm incredibly jealous of those who will see it for the first time. And recently, a simulator came out on this exact theme, where you get to open your very own chocolate factory. Like any other similar simulator, you start with a small workshop where you manually prepare your first batches of chocolate. Then, over time, new opportunities open up. Buying equipment, hiring workers, creating unique recipes, and expanding into the international sweets market. In the game, you need to approach chocolate production smartly. I mean, choosing the right ingredients, processing cocoa beans, and developing exclusive recipes. You also need to manage the factory, hiring staff, upgrading production lines, and automating the process. The variety of your products plays an important role too. Starting from regular chocolate bars all the way to candies, truffles, desserts, and so on, you get the idea. And yeah, don't forget about finding suppliers, studying brands, making contracts, and creating your unique design, like packaging and logos. Personally, I think this is a pretty pleasant simulator that'll be perfect for people who love building and developing their next business venture. RoadCraft. This is a pretty anticipated construction simulator for me personally, which finally made it to release. Yeah, this is a game from the same developers who gave us Spin Tires, Mud Runner, and Snow Runner. Let's get straight to the point. Here you play as the head of your own company whose job is to restore cities after natural disasters, floods, hurricanes, and sandstorms. Typically, you need to clear debris, fix roads, build bridges, and bring life back to destroyed cities and towns. You control a ton of machinery: bulldozers, cranes, asphalt pavers, dump trucks. Over 40 machines in total, each with its own physics and controls. And the developers have really nailed this aspect over the years, so the game's got that completely sorted. So yeah, every dump truck or crane in the game feels like the real deal. Don't secure your load properly? Well, on the first turn, you'll basically end up in a ditch. The actual road construction process is pure meditation. You pour sand, level it, lay asphalt, and boom. There's a proper highway instead of mud. And plus, just like any other previous game from this studio, there's co-op here. So you can restore destroyed civilization with a party of friends if you want, up to 4 people. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid and incredibly addictive simulator. Honestly, I love almost every game from these developers because each one is unique in its own way, and this is no exception. Ambulance Life, a Paramedic Simulator. Have you ever dreamed of working as part of an ambulance crew? Responding to calls and saving people's lives. If so, a simulator recently came out on this theme where you get to play as an ambulance brigade. Right off the bat, I'll say that the game has mediocre optimization and a bunch of bugs, so my advice is to stay away from it for now and just bookmark it for the future, so to speak. The essence of the game itself is crystal clear. You need to respond to emergency calls, arrive as quickly as possible, and save people. Each call is a kind of test and fight for the patient's life, where you need to make necessary decisions quickly and, most importantly, correctly, since each case is unique in its own way. The city in the game is divided into 3 gaming zones, and each has its own incidents, from basic accidents to more serious cases like third-degree burns. You have 17 different medical instruments at your disposal, each designed for specific situations. Besides regular emergency situations, you'll deal with large-scale disasters that present a more complex challenge, which personally reminds me of the excellent show 911. It's about firefighters, but the essence is pretty similar. I recommend checking it out in your free time, by the way. The Precinct. Let's admit one simple but obvious thing. There are almost no decent police simulators nowadays. However, recently a pretty good mix of simulator and top-down action in the spirit of the first GTA games came out. It's a game where you play as a cop who just joined the force, trying to solve his father's murder while cleaning up the city from crime. The setting is a fictional city that strongly resembles New York from the 80s, which really benefits the game's atmosphere. rainy streets, graffiti, cassette players, and cars from that era, of course. As for gameplay, it involves patrolling the city on foot, by car, and even by helicopter, writing parking tickets, catching thieves, and chasing criminals. And the chases are pure bliss, especially when you're racing through the night with that isometric style and cool lighting. The sirens at night shine just like in the movies. The crimes here are procedural, unique in their own way. Sometimes you just need to write a ticket for throwing trash out the window. Other times you're catching a drug dealer. In short, the game is pure joy for those who want to feel like a cop from an old movie with chases and shootouts. Assetto Corsa EVO. Definitely, no video like this would be complete without some racing simulator. At least because games in this genre come out maybe a couple times a year at most, and if you're lucky, something decent will come out. One such game is the brand new Assetto Corsa EVO. It's actually the third game in the series. It launched in early access and has both pros and cons. But let's take it step by step. Let's start with the good stuff. The game has pretty solid graphics and, importantly, reworked car physics. It was already amazing before, but now it's even better. Each car, though there aren't that many yet, feels unique on the road. Almost every race is a battle where you need to understand how the car behaves in different weather conditions and so on. They also recently added Academy mode to the game. Those familiar with racing simulators already know what this is. For those who don't, I'll explain briefly. It's basically training where you complete challenges of varying difficulty to get driver's licenses for different categories. But sadly, there are downsides too. The main one is optimization. It's honestly lacking here. Even on top-tier systems, there are lags and freezes, but supposedly they'll fix this. The second minus is the not-so-large amount of content, though considering it's early access, this is still understandable. Personally, I hope they'll polish the game properly, and eventually give full modding support, because for this series, that's extremely important, trust me. Used car simulator. Another car flipping simulator. Why another? Because lately, quite a few games like this have been coming out, so this one isn't really a special exception. The game's title literally embodies its entire essence. You buy an old used beater at the used car market, wash it at a car wash, paint it a bit, and sell it for twice the price. Basically, the essence of any car flipper. Here you start with empty pockets in an abandoned city where your goal is to build a car trading empire. The whole mechanic is kind of a mix of Car Mechanic Simulator and GTA. You look for cars at markets or in dark alleys, trade them, fix rusty buckets, tune them to perfection, and sell them for profit. You can even steal cars, but if the cops catch you, you'll either have to pay a fine or they'll confiscate the car entirely. Plus, there are story quests, like dealing with the mafia, as well as side activities like races, parts delivery, or searching for scrap metal with a detector to earn extra cash. Car customization is also there. You can change the engine, spoiler, color, wheels, and so on. The trading system itself is kind of a mini-game where you negotiate, check the car for damage, or take it at your own risk. Overall, it's a decent car flipping simulator. Yeah, it definitely won't last 100 hours, but you can definitely get hooked for 5 to 10 hours. Rally Mechanic Simulator. Let's just say there have been enough auto mechanic simulators for different types of vehicles lately. There are simulators for fixing trucks, regular cars, tanks, planes, and so on. In short, there's plenty to choose from. And recently a simulator came out where you play as a rally mechanic who needs to disassemble and assemble a race car and then prepare it for challenging tracks. So here you become a mechanic on a rally team responsible for preparing the car before races. Unlike regular mechanical simulators, here it's not just about repair, but also optimizing every part, because the racer's success on the track depends on it. In terms of gameplay, the game has plenty of mechanics. For example, you can completely, as I said above, disassemble and assemble a car. Replace the engine, suspension, and transmission, body elements, where each part can be replaced or improved. Plus, preparing the car for races plays an important role. For different track types like gravel, snow, or asphalt. So you need to change tires, suspension, and car balance. And yeah, traditionally, you start here with a simple garage but improve your equipment over time. Too bad the optimization at launch is so-so and there aren't that many cars, but it'll do for a couple of evenings. Do no harm. And this is something a bit unusual. A doctor simulator that throws you into a Victorian village with Lovecraftian nightmares, where treating patients is also a fight for your sanity. The gameplay is as follows. You're a doctor in a 19th century village where your task is to diagnose and treat patients using a medicine book. A grim grimoire. The mechanics are a mix of simulator and puzzle. You examine patients, look for symptoms, cough, rash, tentacles from eyes. Check for allergies, mix potions, and hope you didn't kill the patient. However, it's not just about medicine here. Lovecraftian anomalies creep into reality. Hallucinations, shadows, objects disappear, and your sanity gradually drops. To avoid going crazy, you need to drink special medicine. The cherry on top is that there's very little of the latter, and going insane is normal here if you don't distribute it wisely. The game also has choices, like whether to save a patient's life or not, whether to trust a suspicious NPC, and each decision changes the ending. And there are about 10 of those. So yeah, the main thrill is moral choices and the Lovecraftian vibe. You decide whether to save a cannibal or put him under the knife, and this changes the plot. The game's visuals are also cool. It launches and runs smoothly even on older computers. Deliver at all costs. Next up is a maximally fun and, I'll admit, entertaining courier simulator where you need to deliver various packages. It's 1959 and you control Winston Green, a courier with a crazy temper and dark past who delivers all kinds of insane cargo. From a live marlin that's thrashing its tail to an atomic bomb ready to explode. The main mechanic is built on driving with an emphasis on destruction. Everything in the game breaks, from fences to entire houses, and the physics make every ride hilarious. By the way, you can upgrade and improve the vehicles you use to deliver cargo, though there aren't many of them. The missions themselves are also diverse, from delivering fireworks that explode right in the truck bed to chasing UFOs with a camera. I also can't help but praise the developer's choice of setting. Let's say late 50s, early 60s, it's implemented really well, both visually and technically too. You've got chrome cars and rock and roll on the radio. For the most part, this is a game about hilarious missions and destruction, where you can crash into a diner and not get in trouble for it. Takes about 5 to 7 hours to complete on average, plus it's currently free on Epic Games, so it's definitely worth checking out for a couple of evenings. A game about digging a hole. Everything is basically said in the game's title, which is as strange as it is addictive, where obviously we need to dig a hole, and that's basically it. You buy a house and dig a hole in the yard? Infinitely. You start with basic tools. There's no need to rush towards some grandiose climax or fight monsters. Just you, a shovel, and the promise of discovering something hidden beneath the surface. As you dig, you'll find various items that can be sold for profit. These resources allow you to upgrade your equipment, meaning you can dig deeper and find more. The game doesn't have a specific direction it pushes you toward. Both the process and the end result matter. In short, if you want to dig a hole, dig it. That's the whole point and nothing more. Lushfoil Photography Sim, a game in the now somewhat forgotten walking simulator genre, where all you need to do is walk through colorful places and enjoy it. Personally, I haven't seen new releases in this genre for a while, though I might have just missed them. And yet not long ago, a pretty graphics-heavy photography simulator came out, where the main idea is to walk through beautiful locations and photograph views. In short, here you're a virtual photographer, wandering through real locations recreated in Unreal Engine 5, and photographing everything that catches your eye. What's funny is that this isn't just a dumb screenshot simulator. The camera in the game is properly developed. You adjust exposure, aperture, focus, switch lenses, or you can just leave everything on auto settings if you don't understand this stuff. Typically, your task is to find photo spots from the board to unlock new locations or weather presets. There aren't that many locations. I think there are only 10 total, from Australian beaches to snowy Alps or Japanese forests, but each location is pure visual ecstasy. You can also change weather, sun angle, or add filters to catch the perfect shot. Oh, and I almost forgot. All photos are saved in a specific folder in the right format, so you can later play around in Photoshop properly if you want. If you were looking for something extremely beautiful and addictive in its own way, I definitely recommend checking this out. Space Engineers 2. If you love space and everything related to engineering, then skipping this game would be a real crime. The developers took everything best from the first part, added improved physics, more detailed construction mechanics, and even more freedom in space exploration, which immediately earned the game many positive reviews from players, and quite deservedly so. In short, you once again become an engineer in open space, building space stations, planetary bases, starships, and mechanisms. But now with an improved engine, realistic physics, and new tools. Physics, by the way, plays a major role. It was drastically improved, so destruction, collisions, gravity, and material behavior are now even more realistic. But perhaps the main highlight of the game, as I said above, is complete construction freedom. Design spaceships, bases, lunar rovers, mechanisms with moving parts, and so on. Whatever your heart desires. The only limitations are usually either resources or your imagination. Nothing else. And yeah, open space in the game isn't such a safe place, so you need to monitor oxygen, gravity, resources, protection from radiation, and pirates. Plus, the game has co-op, so you can get hooked with a bunch of friends if you want. If you like to construct, experiment with physics, and build complex mechanisms, then this game is definitely for you. JDM, Japanese Drift Master. I was really waiting for this drift simulator last year, but I remember the game was postponed first to spring, then summer, fall, and finally came out only in May 2025. Well, better late than never. If briefly and to the point, this is a simulator that throws you into the heart of Japanese drift culture, where you can and should take an old AE-86 and go sideways through Japan's mountain serpentines, delivering tofu or sushi. However, logically, the game isn't limited to just one car. There are plenty of them here, and each can be tuned both externally and technically too. The game itself isn't a hardcore driving simulator. You can drift here with a wheel, gamepad, or even keyboard, so it'll work even for casuals like me. The game also has missions. Both story ones, yes, there's a story in the game, but just for show, and various side ones like sushi delivery or underground races. However, as you can easily guess, the main highlight is drifting. It's pure ecstasy for fans. You can adjust suspension, tire pressure, and even clutch so that every drift is perfect. There are also 22 licensed cars available, plus a couple of fictional ones that the developers apparently just didn't have licenses for, like Mitsubishi. In my opinion, this is a real love letter to JDM culture with cool physics and customization, but still raw, like sushi. Sunset Motel. How about a simulator where you need to open your own dream summer motel? Well, you can make this happen in this game. Yeah, everything here is classic for games in this genre. A simulator where you turn a shabby motel into a neon dream for travelers, like in an American road movie from the 80s. Here, you're a motel manager that looks post-apocalyptic. Your tasks are to fix, paint, furnish rooms, and juggle a bunch of tasks. Check in guests, cook them burgers, do laundry, and even wash their cars. The mechanics are repair and management. You tear down old wallpaper, lay tiles, put in beds, then run around with suitcases so clients don't yell. There's also a staff system. You hire movers, cooks, and fitness trainers because without them, you're like a hamster in a wheel. There are also side tasks like pool parties or quests from an antique dealer for retro decor. It's nice that you can set up the motel however you want in the game. You can paint walls pink, put in leopard sofas, furniture, wallpaper, floors. Everything is customizable. Plus, with a recent update, they added trailers to the game that can also be improved in various ways. If you liked House Flipper or Supermarket Simulator back in the day, then this game might hook you too. Astronomics. Another fun simulator that you don't expect much from at first. The essence here is extremely simple. You go to space, explore it, and mine asteroids. You'll travel through randomly generated asteroids, extract resources, and manage a developing enterprise. Initially, everything is built on collecting materials from passing asteroids, but as you progress, automation becomes a key factor with the help of workers and command bots. Tasks that used to take hours can be completed much faster. So, the more you automate, the more you can focus on other aspects of your growing business, like expanding your cargo ship or upgrading equipment. But you should also remember that the asteroid belt is an extremely unsafe place. For example, there are pirates who will want to capture everything you've mined. So, you need to protect your space mine, so to speak. Overall, pretty decent, and I think it'll definitely work for a couple of evenings. Hollywood Animal. And finally, a simulator where you run the film industry in Hollywood's golden era of the 1920s, but with such a dark vibe that it feels like you're filming The Godfather on asteroids. In short, you're a studio boss on the verge of bankruptcy, and your task is to lift it from its knees. You write scripts, hire actors, directors, cinematographers, build sets, and choose whether to be a blockbuster king or an art house genius. The mechanics are a mix of tycoon and RPG. You manage budgets, choose genres, and attract stars with their charms. Alcoholism, scandals, dog murders, and so on. You can and should play dirty, bribe the mayor, blackmail a screenwriter for their dark past, or call the mafia to clear the release calendar. And obviously, your decisions here also affect reputation, earnings, and even the plot. Yes, there are several endings here too. And what's also great is that the game doesn't shy away from addressing the atmosphere of 1920s Hollywood in full. Cruel, dark, where there's room for racism, sexism, and even the mafia. In short, this is a real ticket to the cruel and bloody Hollywood of the 20s. The game has strictly positive reviews and, in my opinion, absolutely deserved. If you missed it, I recommend fixing that. Well then, friends. These were some of the most addictive and interesting simulators from recent months. If you like the idea of this video, we could make compilations of the best simulators in history, or any other video. Suggest ideas in the comments, and you can also write which game you liked most there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos, and support the video with a like. It's not hard for you, but it's nice for me. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next videos.